teams are thinking and all, but I think we're ready. Best of 5 series, grand finals. Are you, Trev?
I am more than ready. Especially, I just hope we don't. Well, okay, I'll say this two ways, I guess. Well, I just hope we don't get a 95-minute game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to watch, but it is a little taxing on both the players and us. But anyway, regardless, it's a best of 5. It is the grand final, so regardless of how the game is played, it's going to be exciting no matter what. So.
Yeah, and he also Haxer made some strong points there, and as you apparently know a little bit about. We're probably going to see something a little bit fun here, too, as far as an entertainment value goes. So that's good to hear. Again, there is money on the line, and it's not that they're not taking it seriously by any means, but, it's also an entertainment factor, and ultimately, both teams are in the end going to be going to DreamHack, and so at least they're going to try to have some fun with it, being a best of the 5 series especially. So Game 1 has started, though, guys. Let's go ahead and look to jump in. The grand finals of the DreamHoN Redemption Tournament are upon us. We have Trademark eSports on the Hellborn, Complexity on the Legion side. Can't talk apparently, but yeah, I really am excited that we are finally here, wrapping up this event, and what should be a great best of the 5 finals. Haxford also did make some great strong points there about Trademark eSports. They really do respect this team. They really feel that there's a reason why they have taken games off of them in the past, and he wouldn't be surprised if they happen to take at least a game off of them here in this finals. But in the end, of course, still confident that they can come through with a series. But you got to look at Trademark eSports there, that they deserve that credit. Again, going through that huge grind yesterday. I'm just sure they're happy to be qualified for DreamHack, but now they get a chance to once and for all defeat the full team Complexity. So
yeah, well, I mean, look at yesterday. They took the first game of the series off of them. TDM did. And then actually in the second game, they were looking quite good. They were looking really, really good. I felt like it was more of their game to lose in the second game. So I thought they were actually going to take a quick 2-0 victory over Complexity. There was a couple of factors involved, specifically the Corrupted Disciple pick in general, and then, of course, the item build that Tempest decided to go just didn't seem to fit and work that game at all. And eventually Complexity was able to take that game and then take Game 3 quite convincingly with that that level 1 Kongor. But yeah, they looked great. I mean, like I said, beating them right off the bat in Game 1 definitely set a tone, but unfortunately they weren't able to close out that victory. Anyway, the game has started. The blind bands, of course, Wild Soul, Fade coming out from BKid, Tundra Pebbles coming out from MyNuts, and I mean, the Wild Soul blind band, I expect that to be every single game. I really do. I've talked about that enough, but the locks, actually. We got Bubbles, Tempest, Ophelia, Keeper of the Forest, and now Pharaoh. So Pharaoh's a hero we've been seeing locked a bit more and more lately. And then actually finally a Dark Lady lock. It's funny because we always see either Dark Lady or usually these hard carries just picked or in the regular picking phase. Not too often we see them locked.
Yeah, but something tells me we're going to see a lot of carries banned here from Trademark eSports, and then they're going to kind of force Complexity to make a decision on whether or not they want to first pick Dark Lady out of that lock pool, or maybe just try for something else. But so maybe just thinking a little bit too far ahead there. But we'll see how this banning phase goes and see if there is any legitimacy to what I'm putting out there. But the first ban going to be happening on Complexity's side, so of course we'll wait and see what they ultimately decide to go with. But yeah, the Bubbles, Tempest, Ophelia, Keeper, Pharaoh, and Dark Lady, definitely a strong lock pool there. We got 3 powerful jungle heroes, and as you said, Pharaoh really has been stepping up as more and more of a suicide hero lately. So Cherizai going to be right away the first ban by B-Kid. Can't say I'm too shocked about that. Witzer to follow up, more Axis. And so kind of going quickly here when it comes to the banning phase as it started here. So you see Axer and come on screen. Yes, obviously the wonderful technology with 6-minute delay and how everyone gets to enjoy it 6 minutes later from us. But so yeah, the banning phase going on here. As you said, maybe don't expect to see that crazy strategy happen in game number 1, but as the series progresses, we'll have to see. Aluna going to be the next ban. So my whole idea about banning all these carries and trying to force a decision, never mind. It's not going to be happening.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you brought up that was interesting is when Complexity, they did lock. Actually, the Ophelia lock came out from TDM.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting because Complexity loves to run Ophelia, and especially when your first pick and you haven't already locked Glacius as well in that pool along with Ophelia, that just tells me that should scream, I'm going to pick Ophelia first out of that lock. Now, they also did finally lock Dark Lady, so maybe their strategy is actually there's Draconis as that final ban, along with Polywog Priest and a Luna. But maybe the strategy is, okay, we'll give them a first pick Ophelia, we'll ban out all the hard carries and take out or take Dark Lady, but they haven't banned out all the hard carries right now. They've only banned out Draconis.
Yeah. So
there's still Magebane, there's still Silhouette, there's still Forsaken Archer, and then, of course, we saw Moon Queen picked up by TDM, but that did not work well at all yesterday. Of course, there were other factors like the level 1 Konghor, but yeah, I'm interested. I expect Glacius actually to be first picked here by Complexity, especially with that Ophelia in that log pool.
Yeah, Glacius would be strong. Silhouette, though, is indeed going to be the first pick. And that is interesting. I mean, you got the Magebane, you have the Silhouette, you have the Dark Lady in the log pool. So Complexity, though, really making a strong point that they want to make sure that they get that Silhouette. We all know Haxor loves to play Silhouette, but he's proven that he can play other carries as well. But they go with that. We're going quickly here. Wow. Silhouette followed up by N4 Magnus. TDM went with Glacius Forsaken Archer, and then they final pick Tremble, actually. So that picking phase just really skyrocketed all of a sudden, went very quickly here.
And the Tremble, I mean, it's interesting to see Complexity to actually take up Nymphora. I never see them play Nymphora. Obviously, we've seen time and time again, Nymphora plus someone like a Mag is very strong. And there's Ophelia first picked out of that lock pool. Kind of interesting seeing how Glacius is already on the board. It's a very good counter to Ophelia. But yeah, the Nymphora, it's not often played by Complexity, so that's a little bit out of their comfort zone, I feel. We'll have to see how Franzi does on that Nymphora. And then, of course, Tremble picked up by TDM. Normally we see, we actually don't see them pick Tremble that often. In fact, I don't even know if we have seen them pick Tremble, and I don't know how they run it. But I think it's going to fit their strategy. And their strategy is they've already set it up. It's probably going to be, they like to do a solo short, very strong solo short, a dual lane mid that crushes, something like a Glacius Pebble, something like a Forsaken Archer Glacius, which they have here. And then a jungler plus a Suicide Hero. That is very strong. Usually, of course, they love to run that Wild Soul and that Suicide Hero. It makes it so perfect for them. But I expect something like, it could even be a Keeper for the Forest and a Tempest right here. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
But it's going to be either, I feel, actually they have a lot of different options there, just not Dark Lady, obviously. Because they could go for a Suicide Hero and then a jungler. That's basically what they need.
Yeah, and like you said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Keeper and Tempest here. So really, those 4 to the 5 heroes they're really choosing from. It's just a matter of what they ultimately want to go with. So Minus the captain, it looks like he's going to go with Keeper of the Forest and Bubbles as their final 2 picks, actually. So, as expected, they get the passive jungle, they get the great Suicide Lane hero, and now they get Complexity left with either Tempest or Pharaoh. Really, whoever they feel is necessary in this game. Pharaoh would bring a little bit more beefy presence, but of course Tempest brings an awesome teamfight ultimate. And as you like to say, well, the fastest farming jungle here in the game, but in this case he wouldn't be that. He would most likely be Suicide.
Yeah.
If they do choose to go him. So,
well, they're going to have, I feel like they have to go, I mean, I guess they could go Tempest, but I feel like Pharaoh would just fit so much better here. Although, I don't know. Their lineup would be kind of, I just feel like it wouldn't be that strong. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, but I feel like they're going to go with the Pharaoh here. They're going to go with like a Pharaoh solo mid, and then like a very aggressive tri-lane Nymphora Mag. They're probably just going to go safe and go Pharaoh Suicide or Tempest. That's what they're thinking. Who's the better Suicide right now? Pharaoh or Tempest? What's going to benefit more? They're probably going to go with the Tempest, now that I think about it. If it's going to go Suicide, I feel like it should be Tempest. But nope, they're going to go with Pharaoh. Complexity is not a team to man up, from what I've seen. They normally like to just be in their safe lane. Don't worry about trying to man up. They don't want to take the risk. So they're probably going to go that Magnus Nymphora bottom. They're going to let Ophelia just freeform in the jungle. Pharaoh Suicide, and then, but that means Haxorn as a Silhouette mid, and that's kind of awkward to me. So it might be Nymphora Mag mid. I don't know. There's a lot of different options. Also, the other thing to think about is Zai is playing at Tremble. The way their lanes are set up, it could mean it should, I feel like, be a Suicide Bubbles in a solo short Tremble, but it is Zai, and Zai plays Suicide on so many different heroes. So now there's that mind game. It's like, oh, where are they going to put Zai? He's always Suicide, but that wouldn't make sense to throw a Suicide Tremble. Are they going to do that? I'm not quite sure. So, yeah. There's going to be a lot of mind games here. But actually, already Tremble, he puts his mound down very quickly, so he's going to get that mound set up right away up top. And actually, Complexity, they're running up top. Yeah, it's probably going to be a Suicide Pharaoh. Maybe Nymphora is coming up here to try to get the ward with his team. And yeah, we're probably going to see that Nymphora Magnus lane in the mid. But if Glacius Forsaken Archer from TDM do decide to go mid, that lane crushes, man. That lane is so strong. We've seen it. We don't see that often anymore, but I don't know why, because it really does crush almost anything it goes against. It's double range. It's double nuke from very far away. Very, very solid lane.
Yeah, and, this is interesting because Complexity is a team that, we've talked about in the past. Maybe their one downfall is that the lanes can tend to be pretty obvious as far as how they're going to set up. But as you keep on going back to, this game definitely wasn't really obvious. And even now, although we kind of see there's a little bit of positioning going on, is that exactly what they're going to do? We're going to have to wait and see until they ultimately go into the lane. Silhouette, for the one certainty, is that Silhouette very likely will be in this bottom lane. But yeah, if it happens to be that middle matchup, we'll see how Trademark Esports likes that as well. As you said, Forsaken Archer Glacius, that could be deadly. Tremble is going to be going to the top lane. He's already got his mounts down both at the well and then, of course, at the lane. And Magnus, it looks like Magnus and 4 are actually going to stay up here. And they're going to send Pharaoh mid and then have Ophelia in the Legion jungle. So, again, a little bit of a change up there at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be basically a suicide Tremble at the same time as suicide Bubble. So the way that Complexity has their lane set up, it's going to be fine, I think. Ophelia is in her own jungle, and I don't think she needs to be in the opposite jungle. The only thing that means is Keeper of the Forest is going to get free farm. If Zai, it's going to, I feel like, play out how Zai does in this top lane. If he's able to get a decent amount of farm, decent amount of levels, then TDM has a very good setup because Glacius, Forsaken Archer, this isn't like a lane where it's like Pharaoh should be able to do fine, maybe get some levels, maybe get a little farm, maybe for like the first couple levels, but once Glacius and Forsaken Archer hit level 2, especially level 3, if they play it correctly, they should be able to kill Pharaoh whenever they land a nuke. So
yeah. You look at the top lane, the Terror Mount going to be taken out right there, actually by BK getting the last hit on it, so you'll get credit for the gold. And this is obviously not a situation that Tremble will like to be in. A 2 versus 1, he will not be able to get some efficient mounts down, you would think. And as we saw right there, right off the bat, Magnuson and 4 are able to destroy it. And without the mounts, Tremble's potential, he definitely loses a lot of it in that laning phase. I mean, he's considered a pretty strong laning hero from what I understand, but again, without the mounts, he definitely loses a lot of that potential. You see right there, Nymphoa is trying to destroy the mount. He put some auto attacks into it, though, but Nymphoa are going to go right back to harassment. But the mounts do regenerate pretty fast, actually. So, if they're not able to just pound in auto attacks, but it looks like right here, they could actually pick up a kill. And no, it's going to be close. But yeah, this top lane I'm going to find is going to be pretty interesting, actually, when it comes down to it. Because, again, Zion Tremble, I'm sure he's going to play it well, but without those mounts, that's going to destroy a lot of his potential. He's
got great lane positioning right now. I think B-Kid and Franzi kind of screwed up lane positioning a little bit. I've said over and over that no matter what lane you're in, a long lane or short, the utmost importance is that you get the lane back before you actually worry about CSing. And I think they worried a little too much about CSing, trying to get all those last hits, but didn't worry about getting the lane back. And now it actually is going to push back. They have double Archer, or I should say Zai has double Archer, and that lane will get pulled back in the favor of Complexity. So, but nonetheless, I mean, Tremble's already got 10 and 1 CS, so he's doing more than fine, at least right now. Of course, once Mag and Nymphoa get those levels, they're going to be able to play a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, they don't need to worry about some kill potential. You see Haxman right here. He's actually going to DC, so probably just going to do a quick restart after he put out the pause. And then we'll be back in it and good to go. And that leads us to talk about this bottom lane matchup. Of course, Silhouette versus Bubbles here. And as we've talked about several times, you would think Silhouette would have the favorite here. But right now, Bubbles is 8-5 compared to a 5-2 Silhouette. So Limp is actually seeming to do a pretty solid job here at the bottom lane on that Bubble so far. And then, of course, the middle matchup, Moon Meander on Pharaoh. He only has that one creep kill, not too surprising, going up against Forsaken Archer Glacius. And, of course, Forsaken Archer has a 12-7 creep score himself. So, yeah, Noob G is definitely winning this middle lane, but, again, not too surprising there.
I mean, the way it's very, very early. It's too early to really make any predictions right now. But, I mean, look at 4 of those heroes on the Hellborn side are getting good farm. I'm just surprised mostly by Tremble. He's got 12 CS already. Of course, he's going to get, that's pretty much all he's got or all he's going to get, I should say, because this lane is pretty much out of control now. He's got it all the way pushed up. He can't sit up there now unless he hides in a mound, which he can hide in a mound, wait, for the duration until they decide to kill it, and then he kind of has to run away. And a good job by that lane, by Franzi and B-Kid, to really making that a priority to kill those mounts. Because, yes, you're going to take a little bit of damage just auto-attacking those mounts. It is annoying. You have to sit there, it feels like forever.
Yeah.
But it is really the thing to do in that lane. And I actually think that second mound that Tremble placed should have been placed a little bit further back towards his tower. It was up just a little bit too far, I thought. But nonetheless, he still has a good CS score in this aggressive lane.
Now, with Tremble, interesting thing about him, or what I was going to bring up, obviously, With the mountains, it allows him to go invis unless you're on the mountain with him, and then you can see him. Do you think Word of Revelations would be worth investing into if you're Magnus and Infora lane up here to help harass even if he has those mounts down, or is it just not worth it?
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. It makes him play completely differently. And, I mean, 100 gold, it's not that big of a deal. Of course, you know, you always want to spend that gold towards your boots as an early support, but it's definitely worth it. If you can get a for sure kill out of it, then I'd say, yeah, go for it. But right now, where the lane is, I don't think they need to because, of course, you can just stand inside the web, and it will show him. It will reveal him. So that being said, it's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal right now is that they got lane control, and that's the key to victory in this lane. But like I said, he's already got 12 CS, so he's already doing more than fine right now in this lane. The focal points, I feel like, are going to be this mid lane. Are they going to be able to harass Pharaoh out enough before he gets those levels? They really need to. He's already spamming his nuke. It's level 2 right now because he is level 3, and so that's going to harass him a little bit. But yeah, once he gets in range, they need to just spam their spells. Even if they can't get a kill on him, they need to dwindle him down so he feels like he cannot stay in that lane to get any kind of experience. Yeah,
because I mean, Meander, great solo mid player, but even the best of them really wouldn't stand a chance here in this matchup. So we'll see if that aggression starts to pick up here with the Glacius Forsaken Archer lane, and maybe even look to get a kill if Pharaoh tends to play a little bit more aggressive than he should. Keep an eye out for that. You see Tremble, you talked about this. He's off to the side. He puts a mount down, and the lane is pushed up quite a bit, so he's just going to try to leech as much experience as possible, especially with an M4 and Magnus both being level 3 as well, so he needs to be very careful. There's an illusion Glacius here, so obviously not much that he can do. But, Magnus thinking about going in right there maybe, just really pressuring him to the point where he's forced to fall back, even though the stun didn't happen. But you can tell they will go if Tremble pushes up, trying to maybe snatch up a creep kill either with that hatch or even an auto attack. Be pretty dangerous for him. But Pharaoh, in the meantime, he's just going to sit back and spam the Tormented Soul, which is now level 2, and he did get a creep go with it last time, I believe, and also some harassment on the hero, so doing as much as possible there. And then there's the bottom lane. Top lane, actually, they do jump on a Tremble. There's a Zeal Stun to follow it up. Will it be enough for the kill? The back end did not hit, and Tremble, by all means, fine. So he stays at around half life. So I guess, yeah, no kill coming out, but still decent amount of harassment, but he's going to start healing up, mainly because of that third ability with the Impalers and the lifesteal that it brings. But there's another Magnus stun, but Nim4 wasn't even remotely close enough to throw in a Zeal Stun, so the communication just not there for complexity.
Well, it was just coming off a cooldown, and Zai did a good job of just, most players wouldn't do this. The stun already happened from Magnus, and so he felt like, okay, well, he just stunned, that gives me at least like 4 or 5 seconds to kind of reign free in this lane and get some good CS. Look, he's playing the suicide. This is basically a suicide lane, and he's playing this really, really well. I'm very, very impressed with Zai right now. I mean, you got to compare basically what he's doing in this top lane to what Moon's doing in the mid. And Moon's 3-0. Of course, Moon is getting some levels, but he's 3-0 creep score. Tremble is 18-2. Yeah. Now, of course, he does have the mounts to work with, and he gets lots of regen from those. But it is against another aggressive lane of its own, like Magnus and Infora. Yeah. So he's doing a very, very good job up here.
Yeah, again, Zai, as you put it, he is a suicide specialist for this team, and he definitely knows what he's doing when it comes out to it. And he's going to be level 6 here in the near future, so he'll have Boris to start assisting with him. And obviously, that could help in whether he wants to send it somewhere else to farm with or even set up some ganks, or he can use it as assistance to get some creep kills. But you see Magnus actually phase boots finished, and he's going to – Ghost March. Wow. Ghost Marcher's picked up, and he's chasing down Keeper the Force right there, trying to get close enough. But Keeper the Force is going to go to the yellow camp, and he will continue to farm. So, yeah, I mean, this farming right now for Tremble, it definitely is pretty solid. He doesn't have enough mana to spawn Boris right now, although he does have 8 mana battery charges, so if he really wanted to.
I think he should right away. That way, at least, if it dies, you're going to have that cooldown available faster. It is a 90-second cooldown, believe it or not, so it's actually quite long. But I feel like he wants to save those mana battery just in case he's in trouble. That might be the smarter thing right now. I think he just wants to get levels, wants to get as much farm as he can. So maybe casting that ultimate right now is not the smartest thing in the world. He could just be casting it. He will have mana in 1 mana. He has it right now if he wants to cast it. Yeah. And then he could save that mana battery for when he gets in trouble. But yeah, he's doing just phenomenally up in this lane up here.
And then
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and then of course you have to worry about Keeper the Forest being played by my nuts here to come to the top lane, especially once he hits level 6. He gets that Ring of Sorcery, it's level 6. They could definitely set up a gank perhaps on this Nymph 4 or something like that if they're not careful and playing a little bit too aggressive. So that's also something that Magnus and Nymph 4 are going to start having to keep in mind. You see Magnus setting it right there. The Zeal Stun to follow, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the kill by any means. He does have those mana battery charges, and yeah, he's going to run back. Oh, wow, getting very low right there. Not even using the charges. And he's just going to let the regen take his place. Okay, he finally uses the charges right there, and he heals on up. But living life on the edge, but Zai does stay alive, although he's going to have to go back to base now.
Did they kill his ult? Did they kill Boris?
Did they?
Because he casted it. I'm trying to look and see where it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's actually above
around.
Oh,
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to wonder. But yeah, yeah, he didn't use his power supply. He wanted if you can get turn a hero kill, you can do it with a full charge power supply because they're like, oh, just one more auto attack and it's for sure dead. And no, boop, he gets 150 life or whatever, if it's the upgraded one. But yeah, he wanted to wait for the last possible second to maybe get a turn kill onto B-Kid. But yeah, he's doing.
Look at this in the middle lane. He's going to use Boris right there. Put the net onto Pharaoh. The crippling volley to follow. There's the ice imprisonment and the auto attacks from Boris. And Noob G actually gets the credit for the kill right there on Forsaken Archer. So that is the power of Tremble right there. He's microing the minion, setting up a gank in a completely different lane with it, while he himself was regenerating a base, and now he's back to the top lane, ready to pick up some more CS, if not get some experience. So very good setup there by Boris, being played by Zai. And then, of course, for Trademark eSports, getting the Bloodlust kill on top of that.
Yeah. And top lane, actually, we might see some action. There was a ward just placed up top. Tremble's in a lot of trouble, actually. The stun was already happened from Magnus. Boris might be in a little trouble as well. Here comes the Keeper of the Forest. Does he have a root? Is he going to use it is the question. Pika does have one more stun. He doesn't want to risk it. There actually is a port top. It's Moon Meander on Pharaoh. He does have his Wrath of the Pharaoh, and this Glacius is actually spotted by a ward, but I don't think he's going to try to risk getting that ulti off. There is the nuke, actually. It does miss, but yeah, so kind of interesting play right there. But yeah, Boris is now regened. He actually got resummoned there by Tremble. And one of the great things about Tremble is actually you can use those mounts, if you do have one in base, to teleport back to base and then use a homecoming stone to get right back. Yeah. So it's an instant teleport to regen all your mana and life instantly. It's a great mechanic.
Yeah, very, very useful tool for him, of course. Noob G with that Bloodlust kill on top of a great CS, of course. 52 and 29, actually the top in the game. He is dominating this game right now when it comes to gold per minute. 389 gold per minute. He's already got Steam Boots. And, oh, by the way, another 2,000 gold saved up on top of that. So, yeah, Noob G having a fantastic performance here early on. And you compare that to a Silhouette here at the bottom lane. Haxorn doing his job, 49 and 16. But he is at 315 gold per minute himself. Tremble in the meantime at the top lane. Minotaur coming in from Jesse. And Tremble will fall right there. So Ophelia playing aggressive Ophelia, going all the way to the top lane and ends up setting up a kill as a result of that Minotaur, and also, of course, Magnus and M4 being there. Very good execution at the top lane to take out Tremble.
Yeah, definitely. Bubbles is porting up here to the top lane, actually maybe looking for a kill, maybe just sniping out. Actually gets Franzi there as he's using that Grace over the Nymph, so it's going to cancel that. But kind of an early port, I feel like, by Bubbles. It's going to give Silhouette, of course, free reign down here in the bottom lane. Let's check out her farm. She's actually 55 and 16, so 330 gold per minute. So trailing behind this Forsaken Archer, but still doing a great job as expected. She was against a Bubbles, who actually did okay. I mean, Bubbles went 32 and 6. That's quite fine against a Silhouette, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, it seemed like Limp on Bubbles was actually doing pretty solid for a good chunk of the laning phase. And so those numbers right there, yeah, not too bad at all. But Silhouette obviously looking pretty damn good. She is going to push up this bottom lane right here and even clean up the creep wave with that Death Lotus nuke. So going to apply a lot of pressure to the tower, actually. That's actually Tremble now running back to the bottom lane. So he's done with the top lane, apparently. Glacius is currently in the top lane by himself, as Bubbles is actually roaming towards the bottom lane. So perhaps they're going to try to set something up down here on Silhouette. You got Boris kind of running around into the jungle. He's going to run into Chessie, though, playing that Ophelia. And they're going to run right past him. You see, he actually gets stunned by the jungle Minotaur. That wasn't even Ophelia's. But Boris is going to be spotted, and you see Silhouette now playing very passive as a result of that. Ice Brand just purchased on Forsaken Archer, though. First item Ice Brand. Not too often we see that.
This is similar to what he did actually yesterday against TT Esports. He went the Steam Boost straight into the Frostburn.
Yeah.
And then right after that went to Savage Mace. So maybe we're going to see a little bit more of the same. Of course, I think that Shrunken Head is very, very important this game, especially against the Pharaoh, the Wrath of the Pharaoh hook. And then the mummies, and then all the damage, magic damage coming out from Magnus, who is on his way to a very early portal. He actually a port coming into the mid. They want to set something up with this Pharaoh ultimate. He's going to nuke mid. If he can get that hook, they could actually maybe dove that Forsaken Archer. The ports aren't ready. There's the hook. There's the stun from Magnus. This is going to be a dead Forsaken Archer for sure. He was just sitting in the lane way too low HP. I don't agree with that at all. So Very unfortunate, but very good kill coming out there for Complexity.
Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, Treble's chasing. Boris will put the net on Ophelia. Minotaur will stun Treble, but Chetsy's still in a lot of trouble. Minotaur coming out again. There's the Ophelia heal, but just too much damage from Bubble's assistance and takes out Chetsy right there. You see Silhouette, though, pounding an auto attack, trying to maybe return something. They did take out Glacier, so it ends up being a 1-for-1 exchange. And then 4 porting in. That's a great port in from Franzi right there, literally right on top of Bubbles, actually, and ends up having to set up a kill into him and finishing a double tap for Haxerin. So really, that worked out better for Complexity, despite TDM the ones to initiate.
Yeah, definitely. Their heroes are very aggressive right now, and they're playing very aggressive. And TDM is now in the back foot. They're trailing about 2K gold, 1,500 experience. And Magnus, he's going to have his portal key very soon. That's got to be scary. You're going to have lots of initiation. And when I talked about things that, things that Complexity likes to do are they really like to get portal keys. They love to initiate all out on one hero, just destroy him so that you immediately fight that fight 4-on-5. And when talking about heroes that do well against Complexity, one hero that came to mind was specifically Andromeda because of that swap ability. It really counters strong initiation like that. And so that's just one thing to think about, but they don't have anything quite like that. Let's check out some farm on all these heroes here. Keeper of the Forest, he's been kind of quiet this game. Minus plays a little bit more quiet Keeper, maybe just more the farming type. He does have 74 CS, 275 gold per minute, but the tower has not been pushed. In fact, more of the aggression on the towers has actually come out from the side of Complexity. And they do have an Ophelia. She is only level 7, though, compared to level 8 Keeper of the Forest. Farming a little bit under. Actually died once, of course, too, but yeah, I feel like a Keeper just needs to be a little bit more active early on. Use that ultimate right when you hit level 6, but haven't really seen it happen yet.
Big push here in the middle lane. You see Keeper the Force going to spawn the trees, but the Vulture Lord Tornado even being harassed by Chetsy right there. He's going to take a freeze, actually. Chetsy's going to get jumped. He does not have the heal. The tower will go down in favor of the lead team. Wrath of the Pharaoh comes in. Mommy Wall will trap Nucci, but there's the root from Keeper the Force. Maybe trying to turn this around a little bit, but it's just not going to happen. Not nearly enough damage, and the Hellborn team is getting completely on the run. Glacius will eventually fall right here. No, Nature's Veil, but a nice heal bomb from Franzi actually will finish off Glacius and ends up making it a 2-for-0 exchange as well as the tower kill. So that worked out very well for Complexity yet again. And now Magnus has that portal key. You talked about that being a huge item pickup, of course. Haxerin is very close to picking up his Blessed Orb well on his way to his Null Stone. And yeah, the items are starting to add up early on here for Complexity. So, I mean, even just the... Obviously, a lot of numbers are showing that Complexity is in the lead right now, but the big one to me is the Forsaken Archer versus the Silhouette. We just finished, it seems like a minute ago, we were saying how Forsaken Archer was nearly 400 gold per minute and dominating this game. That kill happened on him, though. It was a great job by Pharaoh, of course, initiating the follow-up by Magnus, and then Silhouette got the double tap at the bottom lane. And then with what just happened right there, all of a sudden, Silhouette's at 430 GPM, and Forsaken Archer struggling to stay above 300.
I'll tell you what, they needed to be aggressive on the towers early on. They waited way too long. They waited until Pharaoh got massive levels, despite getting crushed in that mid lane. They needed to push those towers, and they have all the tools to do so. They have Forsaken Archer. They have Keeper of the Forest. So it would be so easy to aggressively push a tower. Here comes actually a port from Nympho. Where's it going to be? It's going to be behind this Tremble here. The blink is up on Magnus. The blink is up. Is he going to? No, he's just going to run and actually stun. There's a stun followed combo, both Silhouette and Haxerin and Nympho, I should say. And Haxerin gets the kill with the last hit onto Zai. So Haxerin off to a very, very early lead right here. 4-0, 440 gold per minute. He's doing great. This is just in the hands of Complexity right now.
Yeah, and that was actually a missed tree grapple from Haxerin. But of course, the great thing about the tree grapple, it still gives you benefits as a result of that relentless salvo. So he was still able to use the attack speed plus from it, and easily was able to finish off Tremble right there in the end. So they're going to pressure the secondary tower now. You do have Forsaken Archer nearby, but not much that she's going to be able to do by herself unless she wants to use piercing arrows. Maybe she will catch Magnus in the crippling volley, but not going to use piercing arrows. This tower will fall, so it ends up being a 1-for-1 tower exchange in that sense. They did get the top first tower in the meantime, but again, they lost a secondary tower right there as kind of a sacrifice even. So very early, a lot of early aggression even coming out here for Complexity. And there's the Null Stone finish on Haxerin already. Just seems like he just purchased his Blessed Orb, but got 1,000 gold for the pattern. And now he has a Null Stone only 15.5 minutes into the game. So again, just such a great start here for our Legion team in Complexity. Trademark eSports has the work cut out for them. Now, Zai on this Tremble seems like he's had very consistent farm. He's not taken off again. He was in that suicide roll. It's pretty impressive with the farm that he had. But he's sitting around 250 gold per minute right now. He has his early Helm of the Black Legion, and he is keeping Boris near right now to farm up this middle lane a little bit. So you think, I mean, what do you see for TDM right now as far as what they can start doing here?
They need to get initiation items on their heroes. They need to get a portal key up on Keeper, portal key up on Bubbles. He's not going to be anywhere close, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's just sitting on Boots and a Grave Locket. And I feel like this is a team that needs to thrive in the early game, and they didn't do it. They didn't capitalize. And it really stems back to the Keep of the Forest. I feel like he could have pushed much earlier. The timing of it, he actually started to push, maybe come up top to get a gank, but the ward was already up. He just waited too long. They already knew he was coming. And it didn't work out at all. I feel like you need to go much earlier than that.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. Also, he could have even pushed mid as well with the assistance from Forsaken Archer. Get a very easy kill onto Pharaoh. All you have to do is slow him from Glacius, ult from Keeper, maybe put a volley on him as well from the FA, and then push out down that mid lane with the Skeletons and the Keeper of the Forest minions. And it would be very, very easy. But yeah, that's just simply why they're losing this game, is they did not put enough aggression onto the lanes early on.
Yeah. And also, something that impresses me about Chessie, again, I think at least he really is just the best Ophelia player out there right now. But something that really impresses me is that he always seems to have 2 Minotaurs and a Skeleton King.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, when you think... There's so much RNG that comes into play. I mean, yes, it's not crazy RNG. If you're just patient enough, you can eventually do that. But it just seems like he always has double Minotaur Skeleton King ready to go. And that's a lot easier said than done. I mean, not only do you have to keep them alive, not only do you have to find them in the first place, but then you have to keep them alive and then keep using them. But he just always seems to have that upkeep going. Now, at the top lane, what do you see him for? Is going to port in with Magnus here. Bubbles the one going to be in a lot of trouble. There's the Magnus stun. Do they have to follow up? Yes, they do. Wrath of the Pharaoh comes with the Zeal stun maximum range, and down goes Bubbles. The port was canceled, whoever that was, probably smartly, because there's a lot of players coming out here for complexity now. These three, as well as being joined by Ophelia, and they are going to pressure this top tower, and I don't think TDM is going to be able to stop it here.
Yeah, no, this is... they really have to change their game plan here. They got to do something. I mean, I'm sorry, but Keeper of the Forest is 0-0-0. Hasn't really been pushing. He's just kind of farming up. And he also farmed an Astrolabe. And that should scream like staying together as a team and pushing and doing something together as a team. But he's not unfortunately doing that. Okay, maybe he is farming that portal key like I mentioned. That I feel like they need that initiation. And maybe that's what they're waiting for. But they got to do something because this game is starting to snowball out of control. And... I mean, for their sake, hopefully, they start grouping up, making something else happen. But meanwhile, Portal Key now picked up onto Silhouette, so more initiation is the name of the game with that Pharaoh hook, with the Portal Key also from B-Kid, now on the Haxorn as well, so it's going to be tough for TDM.
Oh, Pharaoh at the top, but he's going to be jumped by Tremble, but Tremble's the one that needs to be a little bit careful right here. I believe the Skeleton King net actually came out right there, but it didn't really do too much. Song on the Sea going to be used by Bubbles, jumping, he does have a kill, but going to use it right there to trap Pharaoh, but it's just Pharaoh by himself. He's taking the damage. In comes Magnus, a great lava surge on top of the eruption. Gonna hide in that steam bath. Keeper of the Forest gonna root though to counter out of it, but Ophelia here, the Astrolabe coming out. Pharaoh will set up the kill to Keeper of the Forest. The piercing arrows from behind there by Forsaken Archer, but a double tap coming out for Haxorn in the meantime, and he will be able to port out successfully. Tremble wants to get the kill on Pharaoh. Pharaoh is still alive. Finally, Pharaoh will fall, but at what cost right here? Dark Storm activated. Not gonna matter. Magnus and Nymphora just a little bit too much damage, so it ends up being a 3-for-4 exchange. 2-for-4 exchange even, as Forsaken Archer, the only one to live on Trademark eSports side. So it seems like he got a good piercing arrows off, but the initiation was no doubt in favor of the Legion team right there, between Pharaoh, between the Portal Key Magnus. So solid play all around coming out from Complexity.
Yeah, but I just feel like the things were casted too late there. When you wait around too much, and when you have a good tanky hero like Pharaoh sitting up, soaking all that damage for a long time, you got to expect that when you start to group up, it's that effect when, like, oh, he's so close to dying, just kill him, just get in there, but then you all clump up and get, double stunned, or the mass AoE hits everybody from Magnus Eruption, and that's what happened. And they needed to cast their spells early on and anticipate that counter jump coming out from B-Kid, and B-Kid did a great job. He's got a 109 score. Really, everyone's score on Complexity is impressive, considering they are at a 12-4 hero kill lead. So. Again, TDM, they've got to change up something. They've got to do something crazy, maybe take some risks, because that's what it's going to require to get back into this game.
Haxorn 510 gold per minute right now on Silhouette. The PK, the Nullstone, he has another 1,000 gold saved up, so deadly here. Yeah, it's crazy. Magnus with the Blessed Orb already, so the farming Magnus doing work by Beacon. I believe Barbed Armor even is going to be finished soon, actually being delivered, I think, to Pharaoh right here, and that's another pretty solid item that Pharaoh could even have. And you got Nymphora. I mean, Nymphora has her solid support items, and also and of course keeping up the wards. So yeah, just all across the board looking just so good for Complexity right now. Trademark eSports, no doubt, in a deficit. Frostburn has been finished on Forsaken Archer, another 1,300 gold saved up. So on her way to her next item. So again, similar to what she did yesterday, but yesterday she was also free farming like crazy from what I remember. So I'm curious if she still will choose to go into a Savage Mace, or if it is going to be something a little bit different here instead. Maybe something like that Shrunken Head instead, or just even a Geometer's Bandage or something like that. So we'll see what Forsaken Archer ultimately ends up going with. I think Tremble too is a hero that you really got to keep your eye on and see if he starts recovering fully and starts taking off like he could definitely a little bit at least. But I think it comes down to in the end what you've kind of been stressing, just grouping up and making some push happen from Trademark Esports, which they still haven't done. Portal Key on Keeper of the Forest. You would like to think maybe that's the beginning of that, but not just yet.
Yeah, hopefully. They're going to need a Portal Key also on Bubbles, and I mean, it's still not out of the question. They can still get a gank off onto like the Silhouette. She is the one that's really making the difference as far as the numbers go, I want to say. Of course, Magnus is a great farm. They all have a great farm, but as far as levels are concerned, it's even except for that Silhouette. She's just got massive levels on everybody compared to that Hellborn team. Forsaken Archer trying to take out some Ancient Stags, and her farm is actually not bad, but I mean, when you looked at how well she was doing in the beginning, and she had one, like I said, Glacius FA is one of the strongest dual lanes in the game. It really is, especially in that mid because it's such a closed space that it's hard for players to really get anything against that lane. Even other dual lanes, even like Pebbles, Aluna. It's just the fact that Glacius FA has the double range, has the double nuke, well, triple nuke really, and then the skeletons on top of that. So. Yeah, her farm was great, but that staying in the mid too long, waiting for that, I mean, you just saw it happening. That Pharaoh was just getting ready to hook. He probably could have, I mean, Magnus was there to help. He probably could have gotten the kill all by himself, too. So it just tells you that wasn't really the smartest play there from Noobsy in mid.
Yeah, we do see they're going to clean up some Tremble pits in the middle lane, and now they're going to group up and make a push themselves. So Complexity, sure enough, they're the ones that are starting keeping the aggression going and keeping the team fight going. A lot of push to the bottom lane, and then forward reporting in with Magnus. Keeper of the Force in a lot of trouble. The eruption on top of him, and Keeper of the Force will fall right there. What reaction coming out from Complexity. Completely catching my nuts on Keeper of the Force off guard right there. And now they'll just push up the middle or the bottom lane a little bit. So we did finally start to see a little bit of push coming out from Keeper of the Force by himself, but in the end, it ends up setting up in a gank on him, followed up by the deny on the tower. So didn't work out the greatest there for Trademark.
Yep, not at all. That's not the game plan switch that they need. And, I mean, Keeper of the Force, when he's solo pushing and he has that portal key, he needs to stay by his team. He really does. And I don't know. At this point, I feel like they're just too far behind, especially when you're working against a Nymph port, who's probably going to be level 11 soon. He's going to be able to take probably the Pharaoh and the Magnus with him to get some ganks off. You can't really ward against Nymphora. That's the beauty of Nymphora. Even if you have great wards, you can't ward against her. She's still going to find ways to gank you when you're never going to see it happening. You can expect it maybe, but you can't actually see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously very, very difficult to play against. It's something you stressed from the beginning as well. Nymphora is not usually a hero that we see on Complexity, but obviously they know what they're doing by all means when it comes to it, specifically Franzi in this case, and they know how to utilize her, to say the least. So as you mentioned, she is probably getting very close to being level 11, and then we'll be able to take two people worth there. Magnus and Pharaoh definitely ideal candidates depending on the situation. Slayer was just purchased by Forsaken Archer, so I'm a little bit surprised by that. I don't know what your thoughts are, but again, yesterday when he did that, it was because, well, maybe it wasn't because, but it seemed like he was just getting some crazy free farm, and so going into the Savage Mace follow-up maybe made sense. But here, he's farming well, but not taking off by any means. So what do you make of a Savage Mace follow-up here?
I don't know. I honestly feel like when I watch this team and they're down, they just get so frustrated that all strategy seems to go out the window. And yeah, I don't think there's really any reason for it. I mean, if I would just sit here and try to think of reasons why he would go for an early Savage Mace, and I can't think of anything, honestly. He needs a Shrunken Head. There's no question about it. But, nonetheless, he wants to get lucky and feels like he absolutely has to get damage items to maybe kill anyone on this team. So that's the only possible reason I can pull out for him getting an early Savage Mace.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely what he's going for, unless he's going that other item that should be pretty silly. But we were told we're going to maybe see some crazy things today, but I don't think it's going to be a early Doombringer. for a team that's behind. So now 26 minutes into the game. Again, obviously TDM is behind. We got Complexity really around a 12,000 gold lead, around an 11,000 experience lead, and 13-4 hero kill advantage. They're going to group up here in the middle lane. Massive push incoming. You see Ophelia's army. This time she has a Catman champion instead of one of the Minotaurs, so no double Minotaur this time around. But of course, Catman champion, very powerful in its own right. This tower not dropping too fast here, but it's a decent spread actually coming out for Complexity. They're getting ready for some possible jump from Keeper of the Forest or something like that. Obviously, they know he has the portal key. But now they're going to go in to finish off the tower right here, and TDM not going to do anything about it. So Complexity maybe even a little bit surprised themselves that TDM just let them have it. But it was a case if TDM jumped in, Complexity was setting themselves up anyways to counter, of course, to win a fight. So it's one of those cases. It sucks, but really, they probably weren't in the best position to stop that push anyways.
Yeah. It's sad to see because I actually really like TDM's laning. I thought it was great. Zai had an amazing start up top. Bubbles was still getting good farm. They had a superior lane in mid. So in that sense, they were pretty much winning everything. I mean, not to say that Tremble was winning, but the fact that he got as much CS as he did in that lane and they weren't killing him really was the fact that he was winning that lane. Bottom lane, of course, that was a pretty bad matchup for Bubbles, but he was still doing okay. And then you had a jungler and Keeper and a jungler and Ophelia. So everything was quite even. I just gave a little bit of an edge to TDM, but just the superior ganking, the superior initiation from Complexity that happened when the heroes all hit level 6, specifically Moon Meander. It happened after TDM, before TDM decided to respond with any kind of pushes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's really the reason why, is they didn't do anything with their pushes. And I feel like they have a great pushing team. The Tremble with the Boris, the Keeper of the Forest with all his minions, the FA with all the skeletons.
They do, yeah.
They definitely have a good pushing team, so they just didn't utilize it.
Ooh, they may get a chance to pick off Silhouette right here. She's by herself. She's running to the bottom lane, but that's because they're going to Forsaken Archer as the port came in from Nymphora. And there's that level 11 Nymphora as we're expecting. Sends in Pharaoh and Magnus, and they get the kill on a Forsaken Archer. So I was thinking Silhouette was by herself, but all of a sudden Nymphora appears with two other heroes. And just like that, Forsaken Archer is the one that's actually dead. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Magnus going balls to the wall, stuns down to Bubbles, but Bubbles will shell surf port away before too much danger, although Silhouette wants to have some action. He true grapples in. You see Ophelia nearby. Nice kill photo right there, though, and that'll keep the heroes in place, and TDM will be fine as far as no more deaths. But again, another great catch for Complexity, and that goes back to what you stressed earlier. You cannot have vision really against an Nymphora team in general. They will just always catch you off guard if they want to, whenever that's on cooldown or off cooldown even. And sure enough, we saw that case right there. They're going to go for a Congo kill now, and they should have vision on this bit. Insanity does have a ward of sight here.
I don't think they can fight them.
Yeah, I mean, can they fight them is a big question. You got Keeper of the Force who's nearby, ready to go with the root portal key, but they just don't have the team makeup right now.
Yeah, they really don't. They have no means to fight them right now. He does maybe think about jumping in. I'm not quite sure. No, he's not going to. Actually, the minions might have even killed. No, okay. I was thinking that maybe the minions would kill the token. That would have been pretty funny. But no, Silhouette does end up getting that. Also has a Firebrand and another 1,000 gold to boot. Obviously going to go for that Geometer's Bane. He could go for a Frostburn, I guess. But Geometer's Bane works so well with Silhouette. Just massive illusions, creates lots of confusion. Also gives you another ability to disjoint that Keeper of the Forest root, which, by the way, can be distorted by Silhouette's ulti by itself.
Yeah.
It's a great ability against Keeper of the Forest, so Silhouette's awesome in that regard.
Magnus, the sheep stick has been finished. Just ridiculous there. Trunken has been finished on Tremble, so, again, positive sign there for TDM at least. They do also have Tablet of Command was actually chosen by Bubbles, so choosing to go that route over the portal key, so obviously applying some more stats and whatnot, but won't have that great jump initiation, as we are kind of referring to earlier. This top tower is going to drop so quickly, though, in favor of Complexity, and yet again, Trademark eSports just really can't do much to stop it. They do counter push the first tower in the meantime, but we saw that earlier as well, and, if you're trading secondary towers for first towers, it's not really the most efficient, it seems like. So Complexity, though, they're going to start pounding into the base. Of course, the Token of Life Silhouette, he's in the front lines, got over 5.5 minutes remaining on that. And he's just waiting to see if he gets jumped to level 18 Silhouette. There's a barrier idol going off. Who has that? It looks like Chessie does on Ophelia. So a massive creep wave, actually, with the barrier idol buff. And Keeper of the Forest going to spawn the minions. Are we going to see a jump here from the Hellbourne team? Again, Keeper of the Forest has his portal key route ready to go. But Complexity, they are spreading out very well, and they're not really giving them much of a chance. But Complexity, in the end, they are going to fall back, and the damage has been done. So
Yep, they popped the glyph. They made him waste that glyph, and they're just going to sit back and farm. They don't have to do anything. They can just farm up. They're never going to get out-farmed by the enemy team with the lead that they have and an M4 report available, as well as all the initiation from Pharaoh and Magnus and what have you. And, of course, the hard carry, who has 550 gold per minute, well, actually more than that, and a token of life. So they don't need to waste it. They don't need to rush it. And they're just going to wait until they get massively out-farmed and just overrun them in the base. And actually, they are sitting up here, so maybe they're just waiting for that extra that cooldown to be up on the barrier, which is up in actually 3 seconds. They're actually trying to stop the creep wave right there. He does get the barrier off actually before that bubble shell surf. No glyph available, so this will be a tower dead.
Here we go. Will the Hellborn team again, will they do something about this? The tower, maybe not, but maybe. There we go. Keeper the Force jumping in. A great route, actually. The piercing arrows on top of that. You do see the split up for Silhouette, though, as you talked about with the ultimate. Chesty dropping. Chesty will fall. But Magnus Eruption coming out only on top of Bubbles, though, really. Bubbles will fall. But Tremble with the shotgun end in the background. He's doing a decent amount of damage, but he will start falling back now. Silhouette still well alive, though. Keeper the Force going to be picked off. Tremble's not going to start falling. The Dark Swarm's activated by Portal Key. Silhouette jumps in the background and starts 10 up. What a lava surge from Magnus right there. Gets a couple of kills. Tremble just going to fall back to the well. Couple of double taps coming out for B-Kid and Haxoner right there. And as a result of that, the melee racks will drop. Now, buybacks are happening from both the Forsaken Archer and Keeper the Force, but Keeper no root, so not much use he's going to be other than the minions. Forsaken Archer will be jumped right here. Will they chase? B-Kid diving in, actually. But in the end, Complexity is going to start falling back. Need to be a little bit careful here about not overextending. At least get the racks if you're Complexity. It's going to be close. I don't think they're going to get the melee racks, though, in the end. So a little bit too much aggression coming out from Complexity, and they don't get the melee racks. So buybacks work out in that sense for TDM, at least.
They did get buybacks. I agree with you. I think they should have just smartly safely attacked the racks, and they got a little cocky. But hey, I mean, you're up almost 20k golden experience. Why not? So yeah, they're in a sizable lead, and I'm trying to think of things. I'm trying to pull out things that I can think of that TDM could do to switch this up. And I mean, they had great initiation right there. That's how the team fights should have gone early on, but it's just too difficult now with the massive golden experience lead that Complexity has. There's nothing you can do, even with the perfect initiation. At this point in the game, you can't do anything. You're just going to have to wait for Complexity to make a huge mistake, and they're a team that is not often to do that. I do want to give them a lot of props, though, because this lineup in general is a little bit different than we see them usually run.
Yeah.
We usually never see them man up and run an aggressive lane in that long lane, especially the fact that Ophelia wasn't even there to help them and support them. Maybe it was the fact that they thought, okay, Glacius might just rotate top, and then Ophelia can't do anything. But nonetheless, they manned up, they went top lane, and they're showing you that's kind of scary. Like we're not the one-trick pony. You know what I mean?
Well, I know, again, it kind of reminds me of Fnatic MSI way back in the day when they were running the trial lane, whether it was the Pandemonium trial lane or the Gladiator trial lane especially, which is what they just ran for so long, and that's what people gave them slack for, was being that one-trick pony of just running that same thing. Meanwhile, at the top lane, we do see Tremble getting jumped on right here, but he's going to be fine. There is another initiation going on. Keeper the Force, we're going to be used. Ophelia locked down. The piercing arrows on top. Pharaoh will fall. Ophelia staying alive, though. Magnus stunning in, trying to turn this around. Silhouette to the body, and look at Silhouette just tearing up Keeper. Gets the kill on a Glacius. Tremble's now in a lot of trouble, and Tremble will go down. No, barely alive, actually, as Silhouette's not able to finish him off. Bubbles, so a little bit of a distraction there, and Tremble, the illusion may even get him. Oh, yeah, he pours the illusion, and there's the final auto attack. Bloodbath double tap coming out for Haxon right there. He is 10-0-4. There's the vote to concede. TDM has had absolutely enough, so Complexity will take game one here in this best-of-5 series between Trademark eSports and, of course, the grand finals of the DreamHoN Redemption Tournament. So saying, though, again, it kind of reminds me of Fnatic MSI, that tri-lane era, that tri-lane setup, but, but with Complexity within their own style. But you're right. I mean, as they showed right there, and really, I don't think in the end anyone's doubting the ultimate skill level of this team, and they aren't their one-trick pony in the end, but, it is a little bit of critique that they have gotten. But Complexity, very dangerous team, and they do take the first game here against Trademark.
Yeah, again, I just want to say I'm really impressed with them running a strategy that is much different than what they're used to running, and especially in the M4. I mentioned that at the beginning of the cast, or the game, I should say, and they are not a team to run M4 that often. In fact, they've even said they don't like running him that often, or maybe not they don't like to, but they just don't run him that often. So, yeah, that was very fun to watch. And, again, I think TDM, they had a great lineup. They really did. They had great lane setups. Again, Zai, got to give mad props there at the top lane.
Yeah.
Doing really well, but they just were too passive early on, especially with the Keep of the Forest. He needed to be more aggressive. You can still push, even without your ultimate. You can still push level 5 with those massive minions. Mid lane, top lane, just be aggressive somewhere. Get an early push, but unfortunately they didn't, and Complexity, they overcame. They did well.
Again, $6,500 is on the line, guys, here in this best of 5 grand finals for the DreamHoN Redemption Tournament. And right now, Complexity is a step closer to their share of that prize pool.
Yep.
So stay tuned, guys. With that said, Game 2 will be coming up. But again, a best of 5 series. So no matter what happens in Game 2, there still will at least be a third game. So again, a crazy format here with the best of 5. But we are here casting the grand finals. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'm Breaking CBK. Joining me is Travel from Medora. Stay tuned. Game 2 going to be coming up next.